Jussie Smollett went from being one of Hollywood.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, everybody. How are you all doing today? I am Andrea.
I'm James. Who do we have with us today? Let's see.
Hey, Tess. Long time no see.
How is
no
the marriage
hear,
life?
No read.
Yes.
Hi, John. Today's topic. There's 4 of them.
Yes. We're going to put that on the screen for you in a minute. Yeah. So what do we have on our topic today? We want to get to this thing very quickly. What we do have, we're going to talk about the Jussie Smollett case. And from there, we're going to transition to America by Tom MacDonald. And then we have a speech here from Jordan Peterson, which I thought was really, really amazing. This one says, this speech would make you forgotten that. Okay. I think this is the one that speaks about you were made in the image of God. Let me make sure I got that one. Okay, yeah, let's do that one. And then we also have Nova, did your best. So we have these 4 main things we're going to be discussing today. So for those of you who are live, we just want to say thank you for being here. Welcome. James Maxwell is with us as well.
Hi, James. Hi, Joe. Hi, Empty Nest Mom. Hi, everybody.
Good to see you.
It's good to see everybody. Read everybody.
That's right. All right, guys. So how are you doing? What's going on in your world? What is happening? If you are new and you're watching us live here, just tell us where you're from. Just put your state. Just tell us where you're from, where you're joining us from. We just want to acknowledge you in the chat. If you are a new subscriber, by the way, to Look and Live, we want to say hi.
And thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel.
Glad you're here. Okay. Well, guys, we want to get to the heart of this discussion. So those of you who are here early, you're going to get the meat because we have to move on. Okay. First of all, let's talk about the Jussie Smollett case, or I don't know what you will refer to that, a scandal, a hate crime, whatever it is. But the reason I'm going to have this discussion is to talk about, it's a hot topic right now. There's a lot of things that are happening with that. And also part of the reasons why I would like to have this is to look at the motive. Like what motivated Jussie Smollett to do something like that? And not necessarily dealing with all the social issues connected particularly or what's happening in the courtroom. But my thought is, if you're rich, you're a black man, and you're gay, what motivates you to do something like this or to make these allegations, in our culture? So that's kind of why we're going to watch this quick video. We're going to share some perspective. We're not going to dive too deep. It's a sensitive subject, so we still have to be very careful how we address this. We're going to move on to the next part, but at least we're going to look at the motivation. I would like to at least take a look at that and then move on from this point forward. All right, are you guys ready? What do we have here? James Maxwell from Kentucky. Yeah. George.
Yeah, Michigan. George is in the house. Arizona, Kentucky. It's okay, Tess. We understand that you're just listening. We got New York in the house. Hi, Lenny.
NYC.
What did I miss? I feel like I missed one.
Just be
Awesome.
safe. Be
We're
safe. Be
We're
safe.
in
Test the mistake.
Pennsylvania.
Yes, we are. From Paris. Hey. Oh, yeah, that's my friend. You sent me some
Hey,
email.
Joe. Yes.
You sent me an
yes.
email the other day. Yeah, appreciate you. Très bien, très bien. Comment ça va? All right, let's move forward. Roque is with us as well. So, okay, let's get to the Jussie
Roque.
Smollett discussion right now. Okay, let's see if we can make sense of what motivated him to have to do this. This is the big
Tess
question.
can't help herself. You better be driving safe, girl. Your husband isn't going to get on us because you getting a little fender bender.
Be safe.
Be safe.
All right.
Mississippi Gulf Coast. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Megan. Megan's in Arizona. There's someone else in Arizona with you. Tess. So you have a friend.
Good.
Mighty Michigan. Hi, Teresa.
Mighty Michigan.
Hi, Wesley from Texas.
It's great. Très bien, merci. Très bien, merci. Et toi? Nous sommes très bien, grâce à Dieu. Merci pour toutes les attentions et also toutes les choses que tu nous as envoyées. All right, let me stop speaking French. Let's move forward with my broken French. All right, okay. Hello, Andrea and James, everyone. And yes, hi. Hi, Lenny,
Gotcha.
man.
Thank you, Tess, for clarifying that. I was worried. Sometimes I would do something at a stop sign or a red light, but I've even said no more of that. But yes, Tess is safe and sound.
That's right.
We won't be getting any phone calls from her husband. Your new husband.
Walking out of the door.
Wonderful.
Oh, you walking out of the door to start
Alabama's
driving.
in the house. James,
Got
that's
it.
who.
Got it. Hey, James, that's who is with us here. That's right. Great.
You think he was put up to this by Mike and Barry? Interesting perspective.
Great.
I think a lot of rich people are just so sad internally. And beyond race, finances, color, all these different things, I think they just don't have a good sense of self. But let's listen.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
All right, guys. Are you guys ready for this? Step number 1, the Jussie Smollett case. Let's talk about that.
No,
Jussie
John, that was
Smollett
not.
went
Hold on, pause. John said, was that speaking in tongues? Well, if you didn't. John, you're starting. He was speaking in French.
What was it? Sorry. Yeah, I was speaking to my friend from Paris here, Joe Linden. So he understands me. All right, let's move on.
Jussie Smollett went from being one of Hollywood's biggest stars to spending several months behind bars in one of the nation's most dangerous county jails. The Empire actor was sentenced yesterday for lying to police about a phony racist and homophobic hate crime attack he had planned himself. Correspondent Kelly Beeson joining us now live. Kelly, just 24 hours after that heated sentencing from the judge, Smollett is now in protective custody.
He certainly is, Marnie, and it appeared yesterday at the sentencing hearing he was concerned about his safety behind bars, jumping up and yelling, "I'm not suicidal," and later his attorney explaining what Smollett was insinuating with that comment.
You will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail, and that will start today.
Immediately after Jussie Smollett was sentenced to 150 days behind bars, his reaction turning heads in the courtroom.
I'm not suicidal. I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal.
Later in the lobby of the courthouse, his lawyer clarified what the actor meant during his emotional exit.
He was doing it for a specific reason because, let's be honest, you have the Epstein situation where he was found dead in his jail, even in protective custody. What Mr. Smollett was concerned about was, what if he turns up dead in protective custody? He doesn't want people to think he killed himself.
The Cook County Jail, where Smollett will serve his sentence, has publicly reported violent acts that have taken place there in the past. In 2018, more than 24 individuals in custody were charged with aggravated battery to staff. Some of those conflicts captured on camera. This video shows a man punching a correctional deputy. Another shows an inmate striking an officer multiple times.
I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal, and I am innocent.
I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
After Smollett's sentence was read, the Cook County Sheriff's Office releasing a statement that reads in part, Mr. Smollett is not being held in solitary confinement. He's being housed in his own cell, which is monitored by security cameras and by an officer wearing a body-worn camera to ensure that Mr. Smollett is under direct observation at all times. As with all detained persons, Mr. Smollett is entitled to have substantial time out of his cell in the common areas. During such times, other detainees will not be present. These protocols are routinely used for individuals ordered into protective custody.
They will be very, 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 very careful with him and keep a close eye on him.
Now, in addition to his time behind bars, Smollett was also sentenced to 30 months of felony probation, ordered to pay more than $120,000 in restitution to the city of Chicago, and fined $25,000. Thanks for watching. Click the red.
It's one of those. This is a different. I don't know. I would say this is a strange case in our society. There's been.
People have been staging stuff for
People
a
have
long
been staging
time.
stuff for a long time. I know that.
Yeah.
But this one certainly.
It's so sad to see that someone would go to such great lengths. I mean, I know they filed an appeal and he's saying he's not guilty. And so I can't say that he is. But in the event people do this stuff and looking at the evidence that's been found, it's sad because you just wonder what would make a person go to such great lengths to stage something of that nature, knowing what the reactions of people would be. It's just sad.
I think that's the big question, guys. You know, what motivated him to do this? You know, like, could it be, like you said earlier, like having money is not enough?
No,
for a lot of
that's
people.
what people don't.
You know?
Yeah, and a lot of times people say you have it all, but you really don't have anything.
So there must be a level of emptiness there, you know, to seek, like, I have to go beyond that to get more attention or to feel either valued. It could go as far as, you know, just the trauma that a black person has gone through, you know, that it could go as far into.
Or gay.
Yeah,
he's also
just
gay.
being homosexual.
There was a lot. Go ahead.
No, you're right. I was thinking, like, even that being homosexual and everything, being marginalized. I'm not, you know, I know not so much in this country as it, you know, as in other parts of the world. But I don't agree with, you know, anybody being used and abused physically, mentally, because of whatever decisions they make, you know. I mean, I'd agree with a gay person, but I do agree that he should have the freedom to be who he is without being, you know, oppressed. So I think both of that is being used, both being gay, being black. And I think having a social status as well, being in the place that he is, a musician, very successful. He had money. He had like $2.something million when he did this. So he wasn't like motivated by money. You know, like my thought was like, why did you do this? You know, I think that's the big question that we have yet to find out. And again, that's part of the discussion, guys. So I'm not trying to act like I know, you know, but some said there's might be some mental status, you know, maybe mental health issues. It possibly looks like he has something that he's wrestling with as well mentally. It's possible, but how do we determine that? We just don't know. So until then, I would rather stay silent because it's just so much is not being explained by this. But I think Jussie Smollett should be very grateful, though, because this could have been so much worse. You know what I'm saying? Like 150 days in prison, you know, and paying for those, you know, officers and their time and everything, and fine and everything. That's really like, because this could have been really so much bigger. This could have turned out to be another racial war. You know, I could see more people in our streets, similar to what happened to George Floyd. More, you know, destruction and more, you know, bloodshed as a result of that. This could have really, really made matters worse. So I think, you know, he's kind of like, this is the least he has gotten as far as time, and, you know, and he didn't even stay in prison that long because of the appeal process and so on. So I don't know, man. I'm still looking at this matter.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just have, I'm looking at Joe, what Joe said. At that time, they were trying to start riots. It's political. He's close to some Democrats. So I appreciate that comment, because when you look at when people stage alleged, and this is an alleged case. I just want to be clear of that. But when people stage things of that nature, other people become emotionally attached to it who may have experienced something real in that situation. Okay. So if he's saying that they were beating me up because I was gay and because I'm black and because I'm rich or whatever reasons that he have put forth throughout this thing, it's sad because other people are going to respond to it and other people are going to react to it. I think that's basically what you were saying there. And it just creates more hatred, more division. That's what ends up happening when we look at the bottom line. And I think that's what, Joe, you're expressing here. It was to start riots, political, create more division. Yeah. Yeah, Tess, he's already out of jail.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Being a victim is a currency of the left. James Maxwell. Mike and Barry, with their Trump derangement syndrome, talked him into it, promising to make sure he would not get into trouble. Then they were caught pulling the strings behind the scenes. Wow. It's an interesting take. There's so much to be said here, but the core of it, I think, is literally that here we go with someone who seemingly has everything, yet they're willing to go to such a debased and low state for whether it be fame, whether it be to support
could be attention to
the left, whether it be to support whatever purpose, whatever reason it is.
Still not,
you have to look at the mindset of a person who is capable of carrying out such an act. Yeah. Or who is capable of, and why would they want to be pushing this narrative? And so it's just sad. It's a sad state. It's the world we live in, unfortunately, where more of these things are happening and more of these things are coming out. So in different ways.
I mean, part of the sentence of the judge, he gave him a really nice speech, and one of the things that he was saying is like, I don't think you're motivated by money or greed. I think you did it for attention, because the world was trying to deal with social issues at that time. There was so much happening, so he kind of like took advantage of the situation and the timing and bring about a story such as that, and he has gotten so much attention. President Barack, I mean, his wife, Michelle Obama, so many people, like so many celebrities, Steve Harvey, all of them were writing and kind of sympathizing with him. Exactly. That's without knowing the whole story. What the perspective was, wow, there's no way he would be lying. He would cry on TV and everything. And to be like, it's like, how could anybody do that, with a straight face? And yet, but
knowing what can result from it. Because at the end of the day, the riots that come about afterwards are they're very atrocious. It's just riots. What it is, it's inciting anger, it's inciting hate, it's inciting, and it's bringing more pain because there's going to be more loss and more suffering. Some great comments here. He's an actor. It worked. Mary. I know. That was one of my thoughts too. Like, he's an actor. I think a lot of times when you're so caught up in being in a character role, you gotta wonder, when do these people get to come into their own self? When do they get to, when does he get to be, what's his name, Jussie?
Jussie.
When does he get to be Jussie? Yeah. And then the other one is, Tess leaving the house now. I know. I saw you comment up there, and I thought, she better not be at a stop sign or a red light. She better be pulled over. I love what Teresa said. Where there is a desire for power, there's always a possibility. More fame, more power, more attention. Yeah. S. Rib said, can't help but think this is a political stunt to incite hate and further divide the public. He got the attention he wanted. This is Empty Nest Mom. I didn't know of him until after this. He has made himself a household name. Yeah, but his name is now becoming somewhat of a verbiage, like the Jussie Smollett is becoming a Smollett kind of thing. Whenever you fake something or hoax something, similar to what that guy did, the one who stole so much money, the supposedly insurance guy. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's kind of like doing something like that certainly has gotten him the attention, but I'm not sure if it's in a good way, So
what's crazy is now you have felonies attached to your name. Felonies.
Yeah. Think about your career. How are you going to build back your career now? I mean, Hollywood has a way of kind of like,
using that
as a make them even more famous. Yeah. But anyway, I like what somebody said. If you're famous and everything, you can get away with that. If I did something like that, y'all would be like, "Oh, James, please go sit down." Like, you just want some attention. Like you'll be overlooked, you know. But when you're famous and you're rich and you're gay and you're black, there's certain things you do that gets the world's attention. So it's like, Anyway, let's move on to part number 2, guys. We're gonna react to Tom MacDonald, America, and I think that kind of sets the stage. This discussion sets the stage for this because Tom MacDonald kind of addressed some of the reasons in a way in a song. So we are going to allow him to do just what he does best. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
I gotta get the lyrics up. I'm sorry, because if I don't get the lyrics up, I will be pausing every 5 minutes. But let me get that, guys. I'm excited.
Mr. E, what's up? How are you? Long time no read.
I didn't see Dad and Mike Crosby here yet.
Yeah, where is Dad and the Mike Crosby or Hunter?
Yeah.
I guess they have life. Not that you guys don't. Hold on. That came out totally wrong.
We all do, don't we?
That came out totally wrong. I'm saying, I guess they don't have to be on every live. They have stuff they have to do.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
That came out wrong. Please don't be offended. What do we go down to? 0 viewers? So she said, I don't have a life. I'm going to go find something to do.
All right. We got the lyrics up for America by Tom MacDonald, guys. Are you guys ready to get to the heart of the message? Let's do it.
Oh, I like the beat.
The USA is getting scarier. Half of the Americans I see all hate America. They hate the cops doing their best to take care of us and kneel for the flag and salt the soldiers that we're burying. I'm tired of the pissing and complaining. Why you living in America if all you do is hate it? You think it's brave to take a stand against the nation? Real bravery is dying for the right so you can say it. Dear America, what happened to Americans? Apparently no one's aware or cares that it's embarrassing. It's arrogance. Our greatest enemy was always slavery and terrorists, and now it's people in the country trying to burn the heritage. I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in opinions. Cancel culture's got more power.
Just rewind it back. I didn't hear that last part. What? I know! Teresa, good job on the early fire.
Terrorists, and now it's people in the country trying to burn the heritage. I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me.
Woo! Wow. Digital Soldier, what's up?
Hey guys, it's getting hot in here.
That was awesome.
Wow.
Woo!
There we go. I think.
Come on, guys, throw some firebombs in there. The beat is still the beat is so fire. The beat in itself. I just like the way he's just
digesting it here.
Yeah, the visual was just like captivating as well.
There goes Tom MacDonald again. He's doing what he does.
The best song that represents the patriots of this country. Whew.
Yeah.
Wow, that was powerful.
Let me see if I can get this right. Half of American that I see all hate America. They hate the cops and doing their best to take care of us. Have you seen such a rise in crime lately?
Absolutely.
In many cities?
Yeah.
Now, we definitely can blame. There are several factors
so many
to consider.
Different things,
we can talk about the hip hop music, drill music. We can talk about but part of the reasons this has been happening and it's been proven over and over again. Mm-hmm. Part of that is cops being defunded. You know, even the idea of defunding the police itself could play a role in these crimes. And there's also been a level of sympathizing with criminals kind of way. These criminals been in prison for so long, and we shouldn't abuse them. We should give them less time. And recently there was a crime against this Chinese people, and the people who did the crime were themselves had like 20 felonies and stuff like that, like serious criminals who've been let go by the system, saying, okay, we have kept you in prison for too long. We have to let you go and give you that freedom. And these people went back in the streets and they were like, one of them were beating a nurse. You're a nurse. Tore a nurse down the stairs. 60-something-year-old lady beating her, and
It's terrible.
and taking this. If you saw that, what this guy was doing to this poor
is
Chinese,
inside?
yes, it was
Inside
recorded on video.
jail.
No, he's outside of jail. He's out. He's out in the streets, and he was
Gotcha.
beating on this poor lady,
Wow.
130-something punches.
Wow.
To this little tiny Chinese woman. So what's happening? We can definitely blame defunding the police. Even the message itself,
Yeah.
definitely plays a role.
Well, because it causes you to have hatred towards the very people who have been set in a position to protect you. And so while there is no perfection in anything, anyone, any business, any institution, anything from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high, from religion to healthcare to anything, you do not take it as a whole, as you don't lump sum it as a whole and then do things to actually demoralize it, make it that much more of a negative issue.
Yeah. People
seeing it in a negative light, like, we need police.
Yeah.
We love police.
Yeah.
We love good police.
Yeah.
We don't appreciate bad police. But are there all firemen good? Are all doctors good? Are all lawyers good? Are all
that's a
anything?
good
Is
point.
all of anyone or anything good?
Yeah, yeah.
No. So if you say, defund the the fire companies, defund healthcare.
Yeah. And what's going to be the result?
Defund. So you're going to lose key people. You're going to lose, and a mindset has such a huge factor on how people relate and how people respect and how people function.
Yeah.
How they function. So people, F the police, that's the whole new wave now. So what are they thinking? I don't care. Call the police. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Which puts them in a mindset to have more behaviors, more criminal activity.
Wow. And I think Tom MacDonald is addressing that really, really nicely. Appreciate that.
Pause. I like what Mr. E said. It's not just defunding the police. It's some of these parents teaching their children to automatically fear the police. Hate the police. Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's exactly what I was saying, like the mindset. So now your mindset towards the police is negative. So you don't see them as protectors. You don't see yourself as needing them or wanting to work alongside of them.
Yeah.
So they become the opposition.
You're right.
And that's not okay.
That's
because
not
now
okay.
how do we function? How do we function in society, our communities? Now our communities have a lower moral sense. Right?
Yeah.
Julian K said, if I remember correctly, Tom held back a few months before releasing the song because January 6th happened and he thought people would get the wrong idea.
That was very smart of him. They would definitely do.
Wow.
Wow. Very deep. And again, we're not justifying crooked cops here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But I'm just saying, in the process of dealing with the
No.
bad ones, let's not condemn the good ones.
You better shut down the grocery stores
If that's the
because
case.
they got donuts and all kinds of stuff that is making us unhealthy.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
We really have to look at it from a very logical, literal perspective. Are 100% of cops bad?
Yeah.
We'll be shutting down absolutely everything.
Yeah, that would be the case.
It doesn't make sense.
We'll shut down the church too, because we have hypocrites.
Hello?
We got a bunch of hypocrites in there.
Absolutely.
But we're not gonna do that.
I
anytime
am
soon.
chief of sinners.
Consider me. Anyway, let's move on.
We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America is
In America, the freedom ain't free, and it's true. We think that to have the freedoms that we have in our Constitution as American, it is something that is we can just take advantage and not cherish and not value. It's a big mistake, because when you understand what the forefathers went through, like how they had to run from Roman Catholic persecution. Many of the people who left Germany and England, Great Britain to find freedom in a country where they can worship according to the dictate of their conscience. To establish a system where a democratic government, where people choose their leader by voting, right? So these are all values, republicanism, Protestantism, these principles that we cherish as American, where I can worship however I want. I can talk however I want. This doesn't mean I can disrespect you and trump you down. That's not what it means. I believe there's a level of limitation in everything. But what I'm seeing happening is that the same people who are saying, you can't say this, but they're using the same freedom of speech to tell you can't use your freedom of speech. It's so confusing, though. It's like, do you see how this level of deterioration of values in America? And it's not only America, because it's impacting the world. Because remember, when America sneezes, the whole world catches a cold. So it's like the world is like, oh, okay. So you notice, like, if you notice how influential America is, the day we said 2 men can get married, and we voted that in our law as American, not state, not people, not lobbyists. No, the Constitution, the government himself got their hands in that and voted that into law. What did the world do? They all follow suit. It's pretty amazing how powerful and influential we are as a country. So when our values start to be deteriorated, you can almost see the impact happening worldwide. It's a dangerous thing. I'm glad that he's addressing that.
Yeah. I love what Teresa says. How kind is the offer to help pound kindness, right? You know, it's so crazy because when I did sit and think about how he's from Canada, so he's even come over into America and has appreciated what America can offer.
Absolutely.
In the sense of being able to have that freedom. But now what do? They're canceling people's voices if they do not follow the script, if they don't follow the narrative, if they don't think how the majority wants things to be thought of so that they can follow the same course.
That's right.
Then you become an enemy and your voice gets removed. And you become, what do they call it? Fact checked, right? And then you get removed because this has false information in it. Really?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yeah. That's not very America at all.
James Maxwell said, the police do not help it either. They like to look at everyone as if they're criminals. The culture police created is also a part of the problem.
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about here. So we have the police with the wrong mindset. We have the community. We have our people with the wrong mindset. So now there's this clash where we can start. What we should be doing is building relationships, building circumstances and situations where police and like-minded people can come together.
Yeah.
And the community can come together and they can start to build.
That's right.
Not continue to defund and deprive them and to make them feel as though they're worthless and not necessary. You know what I think should happen? I think it would be great if all of us who appreciate the police, we go someplace and then those people stay here and get the police off and then just let all the people who want to defund the police and don't want to see the police and think the police are horrible people, let them stay and live together and see how long it takes for them to say, we need police!
Yeah.
Call 911! Okay, ain't no such thing as 911 anymore.
It's crazy. Well, you know, the people that are pushing the idea is not the grassroots so much. The grassroots, of course, they're just like, the people from the poor. They just say, okay, I'll go along with that. But it's really the people who have security guards, their gates are mad high and they have cops all over. They are the ones who are putting this idea into our society saying, defund the police. But you're living pretty well somewhere out there, far from the crimes that you don't even have to call police because you're fine. But who suffers from that are the people in our culture, and the people are not thinking for themselves and thinking, oh yeah, we're going through this. Yeah, we should defund the police. But you don't realize if you do defund the police, you're gonna suffer more from criminals. And when you want the police to come in and intervene, they're nowhere to be found. That's not very smart. So easily, it's not just the people. Like again, like you're saying, putting them in a place and everything, allowing them to experience what it means to live without the presence of the police will definitely wake some people up. But again, it's the people that are doing it from the top. And these people, they don't have crimes. They're living in their country far away. You have to drive a couple miles to get to their house. And everything is all fenced up. They don't really have to deal with those issues that we deal with in our neighborhood. So they don't understand what it is to go through that. So, yeah. That's a lot being said here. I've heard that. Okay, Roque, you said I heard that Scandinavian countries do things better when it comes to dealing with crimes. Yet, of course, I also heard they are not all perfect either. The truth is there's no perfect system. There are countries who are doing it better than others. But I think when we start to change the system, compromise safety, and create a bunch of man-made policies to appease a culture that is very sensitive, that is very confused and misunderstood in many ways that they view things. It's a very dangerous thing. So in the process of fixing one problem, we create a much bigger problem. We got to be careful with that.
James said to fix the problem, the police should not be the ones running investigations into bad police persons. They never find fault on their side unless it is on a video seen by the world.
That's a good point. And I'm kind of happy with the cameras that, they had to kind of carry and wear. It became a law, I think it was a couple years
Body
ago.
cams,
Body
yeah.
cam. So, which helps us to see a lot more that's going on. I do believe there's a lot of corruption, but we're not going to defund the police because they're a bunch.
Government is made up of humans. All are flawed. Absolutely.
Simple as that. We cannot expect perfection down here, guys. We're gonna have stereotypes. We're gonna have those who are. You're gonna have the bias and those who are judging you before they get to know you. That's gonna happen. Whether you are a cop or whether you are not, whether you're a civilian, you're gonna deal with that in this world. I think we can have a better system that helps us to deal with these issues. No matter how great the system is, it's not perfect. But I can tell you, we have a great system, though. We have a great system. If you go to countries such as, let me give you an example, such as Haiti. Okay, the Haitian president was assassinated last year. They still can't catch the guy who did it. And they know who he is. They know exactly who he is, but they still haven't been able to catch him. And there's so many other factors connected to that to show you how messed up their justice system is, how messed up the police and the corruption, how deep it is in different countries. He will help you to appreciate what's going on down here. Like the guy who did it will go on camera and talk. And they'd be like, we know who you did it. You funded this movement. You even gave the cars. He owned a car company who did this. They saw his license plate and everything. They can't catch him because he has the money and he can hide behind his power and he can do and people know who he is. But the justice system is so corrupt that there's nothing they could do to stop it. You can't do that over here, though. They know who you are and what you've done, and they got all the evidence against you. You're in trouble. But again, I'm just showing you. Appreciate what we got. Of course, it's not the best. We got to work on things. But if you see what was going on in other places, boy, yeah, it will change your perspective completely and appreciate what we have going on down here. All right, let's move on.
America. Does anybody know what the hell happened to the Patriots? Lately, this nation is so ashamed and hating itself. Did everyone forget that people died to pay for this? Ungratefulness, United States gave everything to you just to help. I just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. I don't need your help to understand it was a tragedy. Can I just be thankful for my country eating happily without you trying to guilt me for the genocide and casualties? I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't black or white, it's conflict designed by the system. I don't need your pronouns, all I see is men and women. Kids are taking pills for fun while people can't afford prescriptions. If you don't like it, go. Hate it, then don't call it home. We don't need no violence, got no time for all you radicals. Screw your status quo, we're not animals. I won't kneel for the anthem, cause the flag is what I'm standing for. In America.
Okay, Tom.
That's powerful.
Very powerful. I just want to zone on the fact that he says, I don't need your pronoun. All I see is men and women. There's been such a big push right now for gender sensitive pronouns, saying them, shem, they and thems, different ways of. But again, the problem is, it's one thing you want to be called something, and you allow me the respect to make that decision to call you that. It's another thing to say, if you don't call me this, I'm going to get the state involved to force you to do it. It's almost like, so I have to go against my conscience, my belief system, even just regular grammar, in order to appease the way you feel. What if the way you feel tomorrow changes? I also need to change. In other words, why do I have to change according to your emotion or to your perception of yourself? Why do you feel the need to inject upon me your self-perception? If I don't go along with that, you call it hate speech and discrimination. What if I come down with my religious views and put that in your face? You will call me all type of Christians crazy name, but you can use that. You can use that though against me, and it is okay. And the state gives it a thumbs up.
Wow.
That is part of my problem with that.
That's powerful.
Anyway.
Freedom ain't free in America. Got soldiers dying overseas, so America, you say what we believe. can hate the government and still love the country. The fundamental values of America are concrete. Republicans and liberals are dumb, to put it bluntly. They're labels that they use to create chaos and corruption. You can know the history and still be proud of where you're from. Every flag around the world is covered in a little blood. We started out United States divided is what we've become. If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love.
Wow. Firebombs, y'all. He's going in.
Yes, he is.
You know, I just think it's so important because that was one of our major discussions in our last live about how
every flag has some
blood on it. And so understanding that we go after individuals, not whole systems, not not the whole of anything. We go after that person or that situation that is causing an issue. And what they're trying to do is create just an eternal division by making us hate a whole system or hate America. Like, it's almost like people want us to hate America as a whole so we don't function at our highest, so we don't bring unity here.
Well, that's the best way to destroy a country.
Exactly. From the inside,
internally. To divide it from within. Yeah.
Internally.
Because if the people in the country know the value of what they have and they're protecting their borders, their principles, and their constitution, you cannot overcome that country. Well, you notice what happened in all history with the fall of Rome, we know with Babylonian and all that. There's always been internal struggle. It always starts from within, and then it manifests itself from without. And I think some people, they love to see Americans destroying each other. Yeah, it works in their favor.
It does, because then they can just keep pushing. I mean, so many different things happen from division of a mindset, of a debased mindset, of a division mindset. So many different things happen from how you function in society, from your health, from how you see things, for what you vote for what you believe. That division mindset has such a huge impact. It's like that's one little pebble that just has a ripple effect that touches every single aspect of society and of how we function in this world and how we either co-sign or don't co-sign with the narratives that are being pushed. There is, so it seems like, oh, that's not a big deal, or this is how I feel about that particular system or this the government or this person, but we don't understand. When you have that subconsciously, you're living and functioning in a way that's going to continue to show that deterioration in every aspect of your life.
Food for thought. That was really good. Well said. What do we have in the chat room here? Go ahead, Liam Shave. You said, I believe they are only men and women. Also, I agree. If those people that tried and forced you to believe this or that, I have no problem with. Leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone.
Exactly.
Fine.
I mean, the freedom of perception and thought process and speech, those are things that we should not be taking away.
It should never be.
We should not be taking it away.
And I think we should, at the same time, we shouldn't be afraid of being challenged for what we believe, you know. I heard somebody said, if you want to know how much you believe and how much of your belief you really believe in, allow somebody else with an opposite perspective to challenge you. And the point is, when you are being challenged for what you believe, it helps you to really reevaluate your belief system as a whole. And in that process, you learn something, you grow. And I think what's happening is there is this pushback, you know. And if you study anything about how postmodernism came into place, is this theory of you can't think for yourself. They're going against the Bible. It really came after the rise of secular humanism. You can see, like, after the French Revolution, secular humanism and Darwinism came into place. Postmodernism was the result, and the whole idea is to reverse everything, you know, and to switch everything. Even feminism was attached to it as well. So in the process of trying to help society to be better, they end up going too far in the fixing process, and they create another problem. And now people have to push back against that. Like Tom MacDonald, what he's doing is pushing back against the system who's been saying, we are marginalized, we're trying to fix this and trying to fix that. But in the process of you fixing this and fixing that, you're stripping me from my own freedom of conscience. You're stripping me from my ability to speak for myself. You're stripping me from my own free will. So we have to push back and say,
one extreme to the next.
Yeah. It's a problem.
David Kendall said, I thought, like I said, I'm a former cop. I urge people to go to their local police department and see if they allow if they allow ride-alongs to see what officers deal with on a daily basis, especially on this day and time.
No.
James Maxwell, just going to say, as someone who was first handcuffed, then beaten and tased by 6 cops at one time, that 98% figure is not accurate. Thank you.
James.
Wow. So thank you for saying that. And that's what's so
Mercy.
important. We cannot lump some people into the same category. It's not okay.
It's not.
All is a gigantic word
Wow.
that you just cannot.
Thank you for your
but thank-
courage for
yeah.
sharing this, man. Appreciate that.
Megan said China has a 30-plus page plan from 15 years ago that describes step-by-step how to take over America with mental warfare. The premise was they know they cannot beat our military. Exactly.
That's
And
exactly true.
so what I was going to say is about the mental warfare, that once you debase someone's mind, then they start to just become easy to puppet, easy to move and to sway. They have no firm foundation of belief or morale or ideal for themselves, and then boom, here's what you have. You have people who are easily able to be moved and swayed in whatever you say. And so your narrative and your agenda can easily be pushed through because people aren't going to fight back because they don't even know how. They don't understand the mental brainwashing that they've experienced or that they've went through. So now you hate your own country, so you're going to fight against your own country, you're going to beat up your own country. So what happens then? Someone else can come in and say, hey, this country is better, and you don't want to go over there either. But because you've been so
brainwashed,
you've been so hateful towards your own country, you don't even realize what you're doing. You don't even realize how you're not supporting the land that you live on.
Right. But you cannot change, the people who live in America, a lot of people, not all, have an issue with America. And what's crazy, people that are outside of America, like, the immigrants and everything, they're like, I'm trying to come in. I'm trying to come in here because we know, we got issues over there. We're trying to escape from war. We're trying to escape from corruption. We're trying to come in here, make it through your borders and everything, which is wrong. But you have to look at what motivates them to even want to come here. And we're saying, oh, we don't want this. We got this issue. We speaking against everything that's going on in this country. And there are issues that need to be addressed. But the others are saying, the others are saying, man, if I were only here and I was able to go wake up and go to work peacefully and drive a car and just to have my family and have a roof over my head, I'll be glad. So the things you guys are complaining about, we have yet to, we wish we were able to walk a mile in your shoe over here. So
yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's finish with Tom MacDonald, guys. Tom is on fire.
United States divided is what we've become. If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you can say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your balance. America.
That was awesome.
That was powerful.
There's some firebombs in there. That was awesome. I love the visual. I love the beat. I love the tones, and everything that he was saying is spot on. As much as if people don't want to agree with what he's saying, literally packing your bags and going and finding the greener grass is an option.
You can go ahead, man.
It's very, and I'm not saying like it that. I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but I'm saying it is an option, and it's not to say it in a disrespectful way. It's to say it as, why do you stay?
Yeah.
And when you really start to self-reflect and evaluate that, you might have a change of heart. I had to self-reflect on why I thought some things, because let me tell you, when it comes to the Native Americans, not even my own people, I felt I felt worse for the Native Americans, who to me have had an even deeper, a deep-seated pain that is almost like, this is where I used to live there. I used to do this there. I used to live on the East Coast and kind of have been pushed backwards. Like, I had a deeper pain for the Native Americans that I had to then open up my eyes to understand, like you said, every flag has blood on it, and it doesn't mean that the core values of what have been established aren't real, and they aren't to be valued, and they're not to be upheld. So living in the past and just saying, you know what, forget this whole country because of what they did in the past, that's really ignorant.
That is.
It's not an acceptable thought process, and it's not one that will help growth. It's not one that will provide unity and help people to see beyond what happened, because we all in our own lives, we can see that we have a past.
That's right.
That we've done some stuff. And so if we live there.
How would you like to be held to that past? As you are growing and changing, becoming a better person, how would you like for some... Nobody likes that. I don't like it, to be held to my past, especially when you know I am making effort to change, to be a better person. Give me the benefit of the doubt, at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, what do we have here? Okay, guys. Thank you for the fire bombs.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Yeah, Thomas. So we're going to have him on the channel next time we do a live stream. I thought about that myself. Very powerful, though. He's very balanced.
Wow, James. Sorry to hear that happened.
Wow. Thank you for sharing this, James.
Powerful.
S-Rib
said, I think we could all say we'll help the haters pack their bags. We would even hold the door open so it doesn't hit them on the way out. And give them $5 for some tip money or something. Give them a $5 tip. Right?
Give them some restitution money.
Michelle said, there's a lot of officers leaving because of the hate for law enforcement in today's society. Nobody wants to be a cop anymore. I can totally feel that.
It's scary.
I can totally feel that, because now you go out and you wonder, like, am I going to encounter someone who is going to name call me and thinks that I am just a person who would put my knee on someone's neck? Do they think that I'm that person? Do they think that, do they connect me with that person so closely who I've never met? I don't know. I have no connection with, period, except for the fact that we both are in the same industry. So now we can take it even to there. Is Tom MacDonald in music? Is he a musician? Yes. Are there many musicians? Now, do we hate all music because of one person's bad lines, bad lyrics, because of the music industry and what they are doing to people? No, we still support musicians who are standing for good.
That's right.
So we just have to change our perspective.
You have to look at character, content, substance.
It's integrity. It's the person themselves. You have to take things as individual matters and circumstances and deal with them appropriately, individually. That's right. Now, some things in systems can be better. Yeah. And any system can improve. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that can't be improved upon. Yeah. So when you understand that, then you say, okay, what is it that is causing the division between the police and the community, or causing police officers, as one person commented, to have a negative mindset where they think everyone's a criminal, or causing criminals or non-criminals or whatever, community people, to feel like they want to function in this way? Let's work on bringing people together, people who are trying to hold out and not tell on the criminals because they have a, what's it called, like clout, or they don't want to be a snitch. Helping to break down that mindset. Like, do you care about your son? Do you care about your daughter? Do you care about your community? Do you care about your husband, your wife, your family? Good point. Because crime has no limitations, and crime doesn't have a home. It might be more susceptible in some areas, but it is everywhere. Yeah. So, and this is where you have to look at it from that standpoint. And when you look at it from there, then you'll be able to make sound decisions as to why you should tell on that criminal, why you should appreciate your police, why you should say, hey, let's have a day where we have police come into our community so that we start to build and not just reject them for what this person did in this state and this city at that time.
I love that idea. The cops do have a responsibility to gain more of the trust of the people that they work with. It's a two-way street. Yeah, they do have a responsibility, because a lot of cops have corrupted, done a lot of bad things, and they have a job to do as far as building that trust and confidence. And at the same time, one thing somebody said earlier, instead of learning to fear the cops, learn to respect the cops also, because we have a lot of people who just they take advantage of the temperature of our culture, and they will use that to disrespect the police and record their video on Facebook, and then you only get portion of the story. You're like, what was happening prior to that? Before this cop did what he did to you, what did you do that motivated so there's a lot of things to be. So there's a work that need to be done in the home with parents and children. There's a home that had to be done with the police station, but the government also have a place to do. The state and all that is a serious problem. But it goes back again dealing with character, how you respect people, how you look at people. It goes back again dealing with your own personhood.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guys, are you guys ready for the next one? We have reaction video number 2, Nova Rockefeller. Brace yourself. It only gets better, guys.
Nova. I've never heard a Nova song.
There we go. I'm ready. We heard
Nova.
We just heard her man. Now it's time for her.
Wait, hold on. What's this song called?
It's called Did Your Best, right? Nova Rockefeller. Did Your Best. Let me try to find the lyrics for that.
Oh, good grief.
Linda, what are they saying here? I'm not a Christian, all right? Liam Shave, I'm not a Christian. But frankly, I have not yet met a nicer group of people than Christians. Also, some of the best advice I've heard and gotten has come from Christians. Thank you for sharing this. That's really balanced, because I know a lot of time Christians are like looked upon and judged by the tares, the hypocrites among us. But there are some good Christians. There are some really good ones, you know.
There's some good everybody.
In every,
right?
Yeah.
You know, there's no genre of people that doesn't have people who really have a heart and love for others. And that's what's important to understand. There are people who have never claimed Christianity, who God will set his crown on, give them a robe, and give them a new name. It's not to say if you don't know better, you shouldn't do better. But there's people who literally will live the life, walk the walk, talk the talk, simply because they may not understand that God has given them this instinctual way and this compassion for others and this love for others, that they just move and they walk in it because they have a high sense of morality and a high sense of compassion and thinking about how their actions affect others. And it's just so important for us to not think that a label or a title is going to get you advanced anywhere. That's
so true.
And not to look at labels and titles and to judge them.
That's right. It goes back to what Martin Luther King said, you know, we got to be judged by the content of our character instead of our skin color.
Exactly.
And that goes the same for everyone, you know. So
I love what James said here. He made it very clear. Where are you at, James?
James
said
James Maxwell.
It's Maxwell. He had a great point. So I do want to say so someone had said that Chicago is so understaffed, and it's sad. It's sad that people are afraid to function in their own profession. Well, as a cop, our peace cannot be disturbed. We can be cussed, yelled at, called pigs, etc., and we can't do anything about it. You know, I watched a video one time and I thought, man, that must be hard. The way they're like, really hard. You have all these voices at you, just like, I know we as humans, we have triggers, right? So you hear someone, you this, you that, da, 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 and you're like, I'm watching some police just being able to maintain their composure. To me, it's powerful.
There's a lot of internal.
It's powerful.
There's a lot of internal struggle during those phases.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. You're
like, I'm so misunderstood right now. You know?
Yeah. I'm doing my job. I'm not wrong in what I'm doing, and I'm being called all kinds of names because of your emotional response to what's been done wrong, and because of someone else's actions that I'm not doing in this moment. But you're going to react as if I'm doing that.
I'm guilty.
James said, just to clarify, I do not hate all police. I do not even hate the ones who did that to me. Sure, I did at first, but it came too heavy, and I had to forgive to be myself again. Whew!
That's powerful.
The power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness is so immense. We don't understand when you forgive even people who don't want to be forgiven. Understanding the beauty of forgiveness and how it affects you, your soul, you personally, how it is a gift. Forgiveness is a gift. It is a gift for you, and it's even a gift for the other person. But ultimately, it really affects your relationship with yourself, with God, and with others. So you have to, and I just commend you for that, because a lot of times people hold on to harbor hatred. I saw someone write a Facebook post, and they said, what did they say? They said, is it wrong for me to make a list of everyone who has wronged me in the past so many years? Is it wrong for me to make a list of everyone who has wronged me in the past so many years? And I'm like, well, if you're making the list so that you can start the process of forgiving them, yes. But if you're making the list
to harbor more
grudges and to make sure you just make sure you know who you hate. Have a good list of.
Let me tell you about my haters.
Let me have that list. I said all you're gonna do is just internally kill yourself.
Absolutely.
It's a seed that you...
Drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die.
Yeah, it's a seed. Yes, drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. It's a seed that you plant within yourself that only yields death.
That's
it
so
only
true.
yields sorrow.
That's
There's
true.
no joy. There's no peace. Like, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Like, and if you're in that resentful place, it's time to sit down and do some self-reflection and to say, like, hey, you know, I'm still mad at this person. And sometimes it's valid. Some people have been molested, raped, beaten. Sometimes it's valid pain that you're experiencing. I'm not forgetting those people who their sons were murdered, their daughters were murdered, something happened that just was totally beyond their control.
I'm glad you said that. You balanced it a little bit for me now, because some people have a hard time forgiving people depending on how level of the trauma and how to internalize that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't all respond to pain the same way. You know, like maybe the things you said to somebody else, they got over that in a day or two. For me, it might take me 2-3 weeks. It might take me a year because it has a way that it impacted me to a degree that it probably didn't impact so and so, because there's a lot of historical background and everything that goes with that. And I think it's okay to be honest with ourselves. If we're dealing with unforgiveness, we need to actually say, I'm having a hard time forgiving so and so. And I think when we become real with ourselves and acknowledging that we have some issues as far as doing that, and I think as a community, as a world, the cops have to forgive, the colored folks have to forgive. You know, there has to be such a level of healing that has to take place among the race in order for us to move on. Because as long as we are harboring these histories, we can learn from them. We shouldn't erase them. We shouldn't take down these statues and, but we should learn from them and learn not to do them again. And also at the same time link to love and respect each other. I watched a really good video. Maybe next time we do a reaction, we can put that together. It was between a cop and a civilian. And this cop had gotten this man locked up and everything. And he did nothing wrong. He was alive. And they both actually came out, forgive each other, and now they're traveling together, changing the world.
And I think that's what's so powerful. It's learning how, and not keeping it in the dark either. Like talking about it, talking to people. But really it starts within us. We have to really do some combing, because a lot of times when you have anger and resentment towards something big, towards a system, towards a culture, towards a society, towards your community, towards anything, there's something internally that you haven't forgiven either of yourself or from someone in your life. Or there's something there. So you have to start
from within.
Yeah, like that is going to that causes you to have this perspective and this mindset. So in order to be freed from, to be able to free others, you have to first free yourself.
Yeah, and I also heard somebody said, out of forgiveness comes the fear of not knowing what might happen if I do this. So with the fear came, I can't trust. But also from fear, this is a good point that I learned it. Literally, I was doing a little study on that, where he says perfect love casts out fear, because fear has torment. It's like most people hate because they are afraid.
Exactly.
Hate is birthed from fear. And with fear, there is no trust.
Well, when you just
so
go
that's
back
why
to
love is the opposite of love is fear. It's not hate. It's really fear. And if you can address fear in its proper context, you can almost deal with everything else that comes after that. Yeah. So the way we treat each other, when you really look at the root cause of it all, is because we are afraid. We're afraid to love, afraid to trust, afraid to care for people. It comes from that.
Awesome.
Afraid to forgive. Yeah. And I think the next video is going to speak volume, because it's speaking about a little bit of anxiety issues, because we can see how that's connected as well. And I like the way Nova does a good job. And the speech we're going to hear is going to also solidify everything. So are you guys ready for this? It's time to get to the heart of the message. Nova Rockefeller did your best. All right, let's do it, guys.
At school he couldn't do the work, the kids all called him retarded. He got a job in a warehouse where he'd pack and cut carpet. And he never moved up, and he never fell in love. He's 50 but really 12, thinking about giving up. She married young and always felt like she had gotten too deep. Started feeling like her only way out was to cheat. Her friends all villainized her, didn't see she was weak. It's been 20 years and it still breaks her heart that they don't speak. He was a rock star in small bars, until the gigs weren't paying bills. He had his daughter in the car, and he knew he had to make the choice to put down his guitar. And every day he wonders if he could have been a star. I know you did your best. There was a lot to lose, don't have
That's deep.
So there is a
totally
he, there is a
identify.
she. I noticed that. So it includes two different people. And I think the relationship, when I was digging into this, I think is the grandfather and the grandmother. That's what this song is about, and what some of the sufferings that they went through to give her a better life, and she wants to let them know you did your best.
Oh, this is her family?
Yes. So I can tell. There's also, if you're looking at the picture here, it's almost like somebody passed away, kind of a, you know that setting, we're on the couch and they, people wearing black and stuff. It's kind of telling you there must have been a death in the family as well. So it's like a song to minister to the hearts of family members who have done their best and they don't have to explain anything, extra. So intentional.
Gregory Paul. These are life stories. Some of them feel like it's personal for Nova. Wow. So it just seems like she went through like what it is that we go through, insecurities, right? So it's like the insecurity that breeds fear, that breeds hopelessness, because she said that first guy felt like giving up, and he was 50 years old, but he's still 12, never fell in love. He was called retarded. I mean, like that. Oh, my heart hurts because they were calling him retarded at school because he couldn't make the grades. And then
how many of us went through that, I was sent back one grade on myself,
I think what I'm seeing here is like she's like running through the life story of, this is her family. It was her brother first, her mom, then dad. Wow. So then her mom was with this man and she married young, and for how many years, and she just felt like after 20 years they still don't talk, and she cheated.
Wow.
And she said that they villainized her, like her friends villainized her, but they didn't. So it's just like you don't understand the pain that they went through and what it felt like for them to have these experiences. And like so it's just like how people never seem to come to, people can be mean. Yeah. For lack of a better word, people can be mean, and people don't have understanding. People don't have sympathy, and how people want to judge.
It's crazy.
And I guess he was, so it sounds like her dad then was going to be a rock star. He just wonders, so he never pursued his life dreams.
So in other words, he sacrificed his dreams
for his daughter. Oh yeah, because it said like his daughter was in the car.
Yeah. Wow. And I think as a father, to hear that coming from a son or a daughter is the most amazing thing. To know that you acknowledge that I did my best, I tried. Yes, I may have been negligent in the process. Yes, I may have dropped the ball several times, but I picked it back up and kept running.
She said something about losing wars. She said,
this is such a powerful song. So powerful.
There was a lot to lose. You don't have to prove to me. I know you have nothing left. But there's more to you than the wars you lose, you'll see. That's powerful.
I like that. That is so encouraging, though. So encouraging,
Wow.
All right, let's move on.
Then the wars you lose, you'll see. Diagnosed with Parkinson's, it's something she lives with. Was strong and independent, now relies on the children. Her voice shakes when she speaks, she's embarrassed, she hates to talk. And every day she wakes up wondering if new parts of her are lost. He got her pregnant before he could finish school. He got busy acting dumb cause he didn't know what to do. He ignored he had a girl till her mother stopped calling too. On his deathbed he wished for the daughter he never knew. She loved her family, 2 girls and 2 boys. Husband in the garage, she yells she's sick of the noise. And then one day he's out riding and he dies in a crash. Now she'd do anything to have the buzz of his soccer bat.
Just let it play.
Well, I wanted to pause after that stanza.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because she finished her bar.
Nah, she just something said I don't know. I heard come back or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're reading ahead.
Yeah, that's the end of the bar.
I don't like reading ahead.
I'm reading along.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Wow, diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. What's another good point? Loving those family members when they are going through these, difficult sickness, especially elderlies and everything. she acknowledged that.
I think what it is that when you look at a disease like Parkinson's, it takes away your independence. Your mind is still there. Your mind can be very strong, but your body is not functioning. So you saw her fumbling the cup, fumbling the bowl, and she spills it, and then it's like people have to clean up after her. And there is a life cycle, right? That we're born and our mothers and our fathers take care of us, and then we eventually take care of our parents. But what she's showing is like there's a pain in her grandmother. So what she's showing is like everyone's hurting.
Yeah.
Basically all of these family members are hurting, and they all have a different story, but people just lump sum a family and say, oh, this family is a wreck, or this family is this and this family is that. But everyone as individuals is having their internal issues, because then you have grandpa who got her pregnant before he finished school and just booked out of the child's life. And then on his deathbed, it's like you start to reflect. You don't want to wait until your deathbed to reflect on those things that you should have made right. You don't want to sit back and look at your deathbed and say, like, so that's what he's saying. And then there was the next person. Wow. It's so deep.
And I see it here, like, they're two all looking through the window, which implies they're probably both dead. This in essence is like they're looking down from above in a way, I guess. That's what she's picturing here.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you look at the background.
And then he dies in a crash. Now she do anything to have the buzz of his soccer bat.
How many times do we say something and you can't take words back, right? And she's tired of the noise, or just those little complaints that she had towards her husband, and then you don't get to connect with them anymore. I mean, the pain there is unreal. Death, I was just talking to someone earlier today, death is just painful experience. It's something that, while you may learn to live with, death of a loved one who you're close to, someone who you care about, it never ever gets better. You never get over it. You just learn how to live through it and work through it, and to have a hope that you will see them again in heaven.
I think it's also good to tell our loved ones how much we love and appreciate them while they can hear, while they can make sense of it, while they can appreciate what we're saying, while they can understand. You know what I'm saying? So to wait until a person die, and bring flowers and everything, and it's kind of too late. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the gesture, but they're not benefiting from that. So the best time to do this, to tell that mother or that grandmother or that husband or that wife that you appreciate them for what they do, is now.
I think it's so important. What I love about what she's doing here is she's teaching us to take our eyes off of ourselves. Because a lot of times when you have family who are going through different things, you look at them and you point fingers at them, or you have maybe a negative feeling towards them for what they might be experiencing. Not so much the woman with the Parkinson's, but you might have hatred and resentment towards the father who never linked with his daughter, or you might have hatred and resentment towards, that person in the situation. But she's just taking your eyes off of self and just take a deeper look into what's happening in the people around you. Take a deeper look into what they might be experiencing. As a nurse, all the time I hear my patients saying, I'm so sorry you have to do this. I'm so sorry you have to take care of me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you are constantly like, I wish I could do this. I know I used to be able to do this for myself. This is so embarrassing. And I'm constantly telling them it's okay. And for those who are in the field, or those who are in these different fields, like, be kind, be patient with your patients, be patient with people in general. People always say you don't know what that other person is experiencing, so just be kind. And it literally is a true statement. Like, you could be the joy in that person's life, or you could add on to the pain that they might be experiencing.
That's so true.
And she's just really bringing light. Wow.
Yeah. Very encouraging.
And the things that we would take back if we could.
Mercy.
That we know we weren't so compassionate or caring about.
Mercy.
Now she do anything to have the buzz of his soccer bat. I know you did your best. There was a lot to lose, don't have to prove to me. I know you have nothing left.
I want to pause here to acknowledge Tom's MacDonald's presence in a time in essence, like whatever she's going through or the death, the best thing you can do is to be present for that loved one, because this is a very difficult thing. You know what I'm saying? Whenever there's death in a family, there's suffering. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just be there. Give them a shoulder to cry on. Just physically, and I'm just glad the fact he's there, he's present, he's acting his role, but he's really not saying anything, but he's doing so much right here. He's being supportive. And I think sometimes families, that's what we really need, especially in tough times,
And she's also being so encouraging to those people who are experiencing these issues, because outside of what she's sharing and being vulnerable with her family, she said, I know you have nothing left. You have a lot to lose. So what did she say? She said,
I know you have nothing. I know you did your best. Yeah.
I know you
There's
have
more
nothing
to-
left, but there's more to you than the wars you lose. You'll see. I know you did your best. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. She's telling them, like, don't overthink it. Like to her brother who just wasn't the straight A student, or her dad who never pursued that dream. Like, I know you have nothing left. A lot of people are there. A lot of people are just going through the motions of life, and they have nothing left, or they feel hopeless. And I think she's really speaking to those people, and she's really connecting
Very powerful.
from every angle, from being an older person to a younger person to a person who experienced loss. And this is just real life issues.
Yeah.
If we look in our own families, we can find all of these people, and we just have to say, are we being kind to them? Are we helping to support people? Support our loved ones.
We have to encourage people a lot more than we do today. I don't want to Leanie M. My grandpa had a saying: "Don't bring me flowers when I'm dead, because I can't smell them."
I was gonna actually say that, but you were talking, so I don't want to overtalk you. But yeah, I was gonna say that's the saying. They said, "Don't bring me flowers when I'm dead. I can't smell them."
Yeah. So
the
if you're gonna
point.
show love, show it now. All right.
But there's more to you than the wars you lose. You'll see. Everybody made mistakes. Everybody crashed along the way. It might be going up in flames, but everybody feel the same. Everybody made mistakes. Everybody crashed along the way. It might be going up in flames, but everybody feel the same. I know you did your best. There was a lot to lose, don't have to prove to me. I know you have nothing left, but there's more to you than the wars you lose. You'll see.
It's like she's saying, keep holding on. Don't give up. There's more to you than the wars you lose. You'll see. That's so powerful. This is a tearjerker for me.
Yes,
That's
it is.
powerful.
Powerful song.
It really connects with me because I've made so many mistakes. I've made decisions that have impacted my life long term. I've made decisions that impacted my life short term. And to hear that, it's such a hope and a courage, and it's so real. And I think that's what's really important. Like, we've all made decisions that we aren't proud of. Some have long-term effects, some have short-term effects. And some of them, they just seem so hopeless. Like, you know what? I put myself in this situation and I'm not getting out. So I just have to put up and deal with it. But no, like, she's pushing us to have a different mindset. Like, you're more than the wars that you lose. I've always heard it that you might lose a battle, but you haven't lost the war. So it's a little different, but no matter what she's saying is these are little wars that we go through. We do go through wars, spiritual wars. We go through internal wars in our lives, and we make decisions that have a negative impact on us, and we don't figure it out until later. And then what are we going to do with that? Hold on. Just keep pushing. Don't give up.
That's right. I love the spirit of encouragement that's in the song.
Yeah.
It's just like, I've heard a really good analogy. Somebody went to a devil's tool shop, and when they walked through the door, they had on the shelf the tool of envy, the tool of disgust, the tool of jealousy. All of that was there, and you could shop for it. But you see, as the person kept on walking through the store, There was a tool that he saw. It was all beat up, sat down in a corner, not on a shell. And he looked at that tool. He says, "Can I buy this one?" And the devil came and said, "Oh, this one is not for sale." He said, "What do you mean it's not for sale?" He said, No, this is my favorite tool. It's the tool of discouragement. Mm-hmm. I don't sell that one. Mm-hmm. And the idea is, one thing the enemy does very well, and we also play along with him, he discourages people. And you can see at the root of every suicidal person is the spirit of discouragement. Mm-hmm. You have to first give up. Yeah, hopelessness. You have to give up on yourself, and then everything else falls apart. Mm-hmm. So what she's doing here, she is like, no, you are more than the wars that you've lost. Mm-hmm. I know you did your best. You don't have to explain everything to me. I know the sufferings that you go through. She's understanding pain, and she's understanding like human effort, and she's acknowledging them and encouraging them for that. And I think we should do a much better job. I should do a much better job encouraging, loving, not just saying, "I appreciate you. Thank you." That's good enough. But every now and then to have that face-to-face discussion with my wife, with my mother, with my children, and to tell them what I love and appreciate about them is such a thing that is needed today. I was doing a recent survey, and it says in a survey, one of the things that most teenagers having an issue with is the spirit of discouragement. And that's part of the reason why suicide rates is so high. And if more parents and more people would encourage them, they would be far exceeding so much more. And I'm like, that's crazy. It's kind of true, Nova's doing it, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, in society, you're up against so much, and there's so many people who set the bars. But who's the one who really sets the bar at the end of the day? We're looking at, okay, this is success. Why couldn't that young man who wasn't academically, didn't excel academically, why is it a problem that he works at a warehouse? Why is he being called retarded?
It's crazy.
Why is he seen as someone who's not as important to society and the gifts that he has and what he has to share? Why did this man wasn't he able to pursue his dream, him not pursuing his dreams? And then in doing that, then he has the internal battle of not raising the bar in his own life. It's just like so much to consider. So much that young people are up against. So much that young people, old people, everyone, that they fight against to try to make sure that they fit in and they fit the script and they are with the mold and that they are like what they say value is. Yeah. What is value? What makes something valuable? So it's all these things and these achievements and these accomplishments when that's just not true. And that's what people have to understand. And then understanding the life cycle. Like, you're going to go through stuff. Yeah. There's no such thing as not going through situations and circumstances in this life that won't challenge your thought process. But what are they giving you to help you come out of it? Understanding that you are valuable, understanding that this is a moment, understanding that this is a battle or a war that, there's going to be more wars, there's going to be more battles, but you'll come through them, and it's supposed to build resilience and put your shoulders up to say, I was able to make it through this.
That's right.
Not supposed to take you down and make you feel like you're a failure.
Yeah.
A lot of people suffer from feeling like a failure in different areas of their lives. So that wife that felt like, hey, 20 years later, I still don't talk to my husband. We still don't see eye to eye. We still have no love. There's still no this. I feel like I need to cheat. She's being villainized. Yeah, the best thing to do is to leave the situation, right? Absolutely. The best thing to do is to have a sit down and to try to come to some agreement. But trying to get into the thought process there, trying to get into the thought process of how she might be feeling now that that person, whoever it was that got in the car accident, or how the woman with Parkinson's, that hopelessness that she's feeling, like, I'd be better off dead because everyone doesn't have to take care of me. I've heard that from multiple patients before.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because then there's other staff members who go in there and they do make them seem like they're frustrating and annoying. They do make them feel like it's a bother to care for them. And I'm like, you get your paycheck from these people. Stop it. Go in there with some love. Go in there with some compassion. Or just the same way you can pack your bags and leave, you can leave the field, whatever field it is you're working in. If you don't have a heart of compassion for people, and there's so many fields that you're there to serve people. If you don't have have the heart or compassion for it, leave it.
That's so true.
Yes, Mr. E. I need a pick-me-up. React to no response.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we did this before. No, I think I did it. I don't think you did.
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
Angels.
Usually. Thank you guys for your comments down there. Okay, Megan. The devil exploit the cracks. That his animosity creates if we don't fill them with forgiveness and compassion.
James Maxwell. I got the answer one time to that question. God said, "Why not you?" Yes, there's a song called "Why Not You." I gave you that because you can handle it. If not, it would have went to someone who could.
Oh, wow. Someone who could not.
Someone who could not.
Wow. Okay, guys, we want to react to one more, and then one last thing here. We're talking about Jordan Peterson. He's a big name. He's a professor, clinical psychologist from Canada. He's making headways on YouTube because his speech was so encouraging. And he's a Christian. Amen. He actually came from being an atheist to becoming a Christian recently. And just wait till you hear so much substance. I've been diving in his stuff for the past couple of weeks, for good reasons, of course. So let's talk about this. This one is about anxiety, guys, and I think it's going to address partly what we've been talking about today. So let's take a listen.
Are you anxious all the time? You wake up in the middle of the night and worry about things. Maybe you're going through a particularly rough time in your life, and so you're hypersensitive. I've never been surprised as a clinician that people were anxious. Maybe you're physiologically ill and less resilient than you should be. Maybe you're not eating enough. One thing I would recommend to begin with is to make sure that you just try this. I know it's surprising advice. Try to eat a big breakfast for like 2 weeks. See what happens. See if that drives the worry down. Now then, the next thing I would ask, when does it happen? Like, are these dreams? Are these thoughts before you go to bed? Do you wake up in the middle of the night with these visions running through your head? One of the things you can do that's counterproductive is take one of those fantasies that's torturing you and that you're suppressing, because you will be suppressing it, and let it play itself out. You see, what's happening is that the parts of your mind, the parts of your brain, the parts of your psyche that are alarm systems, so that's the anxiety systems, they're trying to think something through. And they're using fantasy to think it through. This is actually a form of thought that's torturing you, because it's reasonable for the parts of your brain that are on the outlook for negative occurrences to think, well, what if? That's what thinking is. And sometimes you think positively, what if, and sometimes you think negatively. Well, you're, in all likelihood, doing everything you can to escape from these thoughts when they make themselves manifest. But all that does is make the systems that are producing those thoughts even more likely to produce them, because now they think, the alarm system thinks, oh, well, here's a danger, and I'm trying to present the active agent, the person who I inhabit, with evidence of this potential threat, as a good alarm system should. And it turns out that they're so afraid of the message that I'm delivering that they won't even listen to it. Therefore, the situation must be much more dire than I supposed. I'm going to have to amplify and increase the emotion of my statement and the repetitiveness of the thought. And so that's just not helpful at all. Because what you've done is you've taken a worry and you've now recategorized it as a worry that's so terrible that you won't even think about it. And so now the alarm systems think that you're being chased by he who can't be named. That's a good way of thinking about it, and a good allusion to something popular in culture. And so they're just going to be screaming nonstop. So what do you have to do? There's a couple of things you could do. You could start by bringing to mind those fantasies. Sit down somewhere, take some deep breaths, try to calm yourself down a little bit, and let those thoughts come forward. You know what they are. and then watch them like you're watching a movie. Even if it's a horror movie, watch them. Let the whole fantasy play out and see what comes out at the end. It's going to be frightening to do this. Even if the vision is quite horrific, right? The entire thought is quite horrific. You have now indicated to your anxiety systems that you have enough courage to face the worrisome event. And just that alone should be helpful. Now, you may have to do this multiple times, and you might have to do it with all the thoughts. You'll know that you've done it enough when doing it starts to become mundane, when all the emotion goes out of it. And if you're particularly frightened, that might take a long time. Now, the other thing that you might really consider, and this is something you can do as an adjunct, is you should think about what you would do if this would happen. It's a hell of a thing to bear that kind of responsibility. It takes a person out of the ordinary. It takes them out of themselves. And, you know, as if it happened in real life. And to take even the worst case situation. And then the question is, what would you do and what should you do? And the answer is, you don't know. You think that would be unbearable and the end of the world. It's not surprising that you think that, but it's not helpful. You know, because people have to live through catastrophe. It's incumbent upon you to develop the psychological strength to be able to tolerate what it is that your anxiety alarm systems are tormenting you with. And you know, you might think, well, that's impossible, but it's not impossible because people live through catastrophe. And they do that in large part by discovering that there are darker and stronger forces within them than they might be willing to appreciate. And that one of the consequences of integrating those forces is that you have the strength and the cruelty, in some strange sense, to endure, to dare continue to live, even if the unthinkable happens. And it's no simple matter to think of that as a moral step forward, but people are called upon to be strong, and strong in the face of the worst catastrophe. Your psyche is tormenting you with precisely that. It won't let you go. It'll shake you like a dog shakes a rat. It won't let you go until you deal with it. You deal with mortality. You have the freedom to choose which of the two difficult paths you're going to choose, and the one that involves voluntary confrontation with what tortures and torments you. It's rough, man, but I'll tell you, it's a lot better than living in constant worry. That's the pathway that's going to lead back to the stability that you need. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew, but it doesn't mean that you can't wrestle with part of reality, some part that's small enough so that you have a good shot at victory. And then you attain victory over some small part of the chaos. And you find within you what would allow you to withstand that, damaged or not, to withstand that. You do that by letting yourself go where your thoughts take you, even though you don't want to.
That's powerful.
That could be considered a strange way of dealing with problems, right?
You have to confront them. You can't act like they don't exist. You have to work through them and let them come. I think the one thing that I would say, though, is for me, if I just work through it with myself, I'm going to create something even worse, right? This is where people go and make decisions then in their feelings and emotions. So for me, it's taking it and coupling it with the principles of the Word of God. That causes me then to be able to bring it totally forward and then not make an even deeper mess of it.
Yeah.
Because it's so important to not to try to bury, putting Band-Aids over stuff. What do people do? Self-help this, self that. They put Band-Aids over things that are tormenting them or things that they have anxiety about. And putting Band-Aids over it, they never actually deal with it. Or they go out and get things or do things or take classes or do all these different things, but it suppresses it for a while. But then these anxieties rear their ugly head, and this is why we have the ultimate scapegoat, right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So for me, I would to couple that video, I would say when you pull it full forward, you can end up going into a breakdown if you don't have the right tools or the right place and space to put those thoughts.
That's right. You have to be careful with how much you allow the negative stress to impact your spirit.
So bringing it forward and working through it, God gave us therapists. God gave us so many different people. And they gave us doctors. He gave us all this. And so praying for that right person to help you work through this process is important. Therapy is not a taboo thing. It's very necessary. You know I need it. I just have yet to take the steps to find that right person that would be helpful for me. My girlfriend has started it, and she is just at a place of digging and into those places and spaces where she has issues, where she has questions, and it is so powerful. It's so powerful, and now she's learning how to work through them in such a fashion that growth comes out of it, not poor decision making on top of poor decision making or self-centered decision making that really has no life into it.
Yeah, as for me, one of the things that, I mean, you kind of said it, what I was thinking about. It's one thing to allow the thoughts and the anxiety to have his way. But I was thinking also just knowing to also cast it at the foot of Jesus Christ. You know, Jesus said, cast your burdens upon the Lord and he will lift you up. He says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28, 29. So he does say, bring me the problems. You know, you pray to him and you surrender that. But there are some things that we have to wrestle with. And the other thing that we have is the assurance that he will not allow you to be tempted beyond that you are able. And with will the temptation, he will make a way to escape that you may be able to bear it. In essence, God doesn't give you more than you can bear. You know, I think we put more on ourselves than what God places in ourselves, but nevertheless, we have to figure out ways. And I like what you said. There are therapy. We talk to people, and there are times we have to do some crying, some self-examination. There are times we have to turn off the TV. You know, move away from certain people. You know, in order to deal with these issues. And I think I love what Jordan Peterson said here is just to allow it to have his way and allowing the mind to make the necessary change to adapt. And I think sometimes we underestimate the power of the mind. The human mind has great endurance. And if you notice, like what people go through, certain suffering, we try to avoid certain pains, right? But some of these pains are necessary to take us to the next level, you know, mentally,
to build
certain, aspects of our character.
Not only do they build aspects of our character, but they push us to learn how to depend on God, because we understand how limited we are in our abilities, how much dependence that we need to rely upon God to give us the mental strength. Because like I said, a lot of people who are going through stuff, it isn't necessarily stuff that they made decisions to be put in. It's stuff, anxiety, these things that might come to mind. I saw Roque put in a comment, some of the things that could come to mind are past traumas.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that then? You have to work through that. And there are ways. I mean, the beauty of the intelligence that God has gifted us with is that he has gifted us with psychiatrists and psychologists, and that they're able to help us work through problems. But you have to be sure that you are putting those situations and doing these things with the right mindset, because it could actually lead to a further deepening of darkness or going into spiritual places that, where no light lies, where there's no light. So
Great.
Understanding how important it is to really just look at the situations for what they are. Make sure you're confronting these problems, confronting these issues with
the right tools. And I think sometimes the way we go about confronting them.
That's not what I'm thinking.
No, it just came to my mind.
Yeah.
Because I know confronting the issues with the wrong tools could also be another problem, I think that's why we create a bigger problem.
That's what I was saying when the people go into distraction mode. Because one big way that we deal with our fears, our anxieties, is through distractions. We distract ourselves with self-care, self-this, taking, like I was saying, taking classes. There's a lot of self-destructive patterns that we go to post like bringing up these traumas, right? People might start drinking, they might pick up a habit, and so people focus on, hey, you shouldn't be drinking, but there's some deep-seated issue that people either know of or don't even know of. There was one little girl where her she was a gymnast, and the person who would do their like icing and all of that after gym care was molesting these little girls. They had no idea because he was being so discreet in the way that he was doing it. They just thought it was part of the physical therapy, and they loved it with him because the coach was so harsh. So they would love to go back there in the room where he would ice them and massage their muscles and do stretches and different things with them. All the while, in the future, she couldn't have children. She found out there was uterine, there was stuff that was going on with her uterus, and it was because of that being too early, having that penetration and those different things that then caused her to have future issues. And so with that being said, then she had to start working through that process. So it's just really about being careful, and because sometimes we don't even know that stuff happens. She had no idea that was an issue until she was at in her 20s, childbearing age. So and it didn't even come to light or understanding that was happening. So it's just, there's so much to be said when it comes to the fears, the anxieties, and the pains that we experience, and how to deal with them. We really have to be careful, and we also have to really be intentional about how we work through them and capturing the negative thoughts, because when these thoughts come, then there comes guilt and shame and resentment and hatred and all these things that cause division. So you can even have division within yourself.
Yes.
So when you have division within yourself, you have to be very, very, and this is why I'm saying you have to be very intentional about how you choose to deal with those pains and those fears. And sometimes my tip is I would open up my Bible and I would pray, and this is before I knew verses for real, and ask God just to highlight something so that I can see it and I can start to have encouragement and understanding, or whatever it was. There would be a story that just would connect then and help me to understand what I was going through. But I also don't say just use the Bible. I say also pray for the right person to come through and to tell you about maybe a therapist or about some book or something that they've read, or pray to God for a video. I've done that so many times, like on YouTube, like, hey, I'm experiencing this, God, give me a sermon, give me a video, give me something to talk to me about this particular problem. Googling whatever it is, the Bible verses that just go with it to give you comfort. And don't try to read in the most fancy version. Just as you're reading, just ask for God to give you the version that will help you to understand what it is that you're reading, and so that you can connect with it. Literally, when it comes to stuff like that, God is never going to say no. You have to know that. He will never say no. He'll never say later, we'll deal with your healing later. No. He is an on-time and present God 100% of the time when you're looking to grow and develop and to be free from something. And also know you do have an enemy out there who is looking to give you back those triggers and give you a whiff of that thing that just puts you back in that downfall or that distracts you. So just know that they're both fighting for you, but the one that's true and the one that will always be for your good comes through God.
That's right. As you were talking here, I want to share this closing verse. You brought this to my mind. I had something else to share, but I noticed the nature of the conversation led me to this one. Right. This is the one I want to talk to you guys about quickly.
Real quick, I just want to say, Salvatore Corleone, we will answer your question after we finish this live out.
If God give us everything, then
I'll let my husband answer it because he's, or unless you want to answer it now. I mean, it's up to you. I just I don't want to. That could lead us.
That could lead us into a lot of different discussions. To say that God gave us the devil, why negativity?
That's what I'm saying. I think he can actually send him a video.
I can answer this. Could you email me, Salvatore? My email is in the description, and I have like some stuff I could share with you that answers that. But the notion that God gave us the devil is actually incorrect. That's not how it happened. And at the same time, I must tell you, so there is no explanation for evil. None. There's no theologian in the world who can tell you why evil exists. There's no explanation for it. It's one of those mysterious things that not even the Bible explains it. It tells you where it came from, but it doesn't tell you why it came about. So yeah, email me and then we'll talk a little bit. I can share some materials with you. If you're seriously looking for answers, I can share some things with you that definitely had made sense to me. So, but here's the thing. Going back, you were saying we're talking about anxiety, pain, and sorrows. But here is the thing.
You're welcome, Sal.
It says, all we like sheep, I like this, have gone astray. We've turned everyone to his own way, right? So we have gone astray. And the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. Who is him? He was oppressed. He was afflicted, yet he openeth not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before us sure is dumb, yet he openeth not his mouth. Let's move up. Here is where I wanted you to see. Surely he has borne our grief. He carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Amen. This is the point I wanted to focus on quickly, guys. The grief, the sorrows, the anxiety. Jesus feels them much more than we do. There's another text in Isaiah that says, in all our affliction, he was afflicted. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about pain and all that life brings us with and all the suffering that it comes with, like, we also have to realize that God himself suffers through the pains of humanity.
Absolutely.
It's a deep thing. And that's the reason why Jesus came. Like, not only to sympathize and empathize, he came literally to pay the price for our sins. So he knows us more than we know ourselves. So he can sympathize with us and he can help us. Even in Hebrews, he tells us that we have such an high priest who can sympathize with us because he was all in on point tempted like as we are, and yet without sin. So he's able to make sense of our world because he knows our world. He knows the preconceived notion, the predisposition, the purpose, the negative experiences that we've gone through. He knows our DNA, our genetics. He understands every aspect of what makes you you and why you do the things you do. And that's why he can save you. Because he knows you. He's been there, done that. And I think that's what makes Jesus so different than all the others. Like, he is really human.
Amen.
So.
And on the flip side, the other one who knows us second best is the devil.
Yeah.
He knows us second best to the capacity that he can. While he's limited in his mind, he's not finite like God.
Yeah.
We have to understand that he is going to try to woo you in with his tricks and with his schemes and his scams to make you think that God is evil. God is all about bringing forth pain. That God is not about relieving us and giving us perfect liberty and perfect peace. Like those things that you experience once you understand who Christ is, who God is, and what he means to your life on a personal level. Not what you see on TV and all that, because that's not personal. You think about your relationship. So you have a relationship with the people who you like. You love watching a show, right? But you don't really have a relationship with that person. If something happens to them, you're not going to feel that the same way you would feel it if you had something happen to someone who you're close with or who you're married to, your children and that. So, and understanding like it's a personal experience that you have with God that helps you to understand. And as you read his word, it literally becomes life to your soul. And as you delve into that. But I know that my journey started before I knew God's word. Because it was little things that, and now I look back and I can see it. So I would just say that it's so important for us to recognize that, yes, while God knows us 100% best, know that be aware, be careful, because the enemy is going to try to, as soon as you take a couple steps forward and he sees you're like, oh, wow, she's there, he's sniffing out this whole God thing, right? then as soon as you see that, then all of a sudden, here comes the enemy with triggers and attacks and things to try to knock you off of that path that you're taking.
Discourage you along the way.
Discouragement, doom, all the D's. There's destruction and disinterest, whatever it could be, depression, all the D's. There's so many of them. But, of course, my mind's blank now. But, so it's one of those things where, you just have to be very, very it's very important for you to understand that while you're on this pathway of healing and growth and understanding, there's an enemy who's going to try to knock you down.
He knows what the next button to push to trigger you downward. And that's why you have to, going back to what you said earlier, you have to couple all these other efforts to fix the problem with faith in Him. Because unless the Lord is on our side, helping us to fight this battle, Satan always has a way of tripping you and send you back and then discourage you from going forward. And he's good at doing that. And we have to acknowledge that, like Jesus says in John 15, verse 5, without me, you can do nothing. Like literally, you have to depend on me. Yes, you can take advantage of all these other things that I already set up. But remember, at the end of the day, you need my power and my grace to get through it all. So. And
that's literally spiritual and physical, because physically, if He didn't give us the breath that we have or the heartbeat that we have, we can't do anything.
You're right, And then even a working mind to make the decision, So
spiritually speaking, when we're looking to do things that are of true substance, because you'll see a lot of people, a lot of people are doing stuff and they're not claiming God with it. There's truth and then there's a lie. So when it comes to these claims to fame and fortune, I mean, you can look at the tabloids and see that these people don't have peace. When it comes to obtaining peace, people say, I'm chasing peace, but they're chasing peace in the ways that are totally opposite from love and totally opposite from serving God, and then after you serve God, you automatically serve yourself, and then you in yourself, because you become whole, can serve others. So when you understand how that works, then you see like people will try to do all kinds of stuff, but they're not on the right pathway. And so ultimately in the end, it will lead to destruction. It may not be something that we see now. It could be futuristic, but you just don't know. And so it's just so important on this journey to know and to be prepared as the best that you can. I love what one pastor said. They said, are you ready for the last days to come? And he said, no, I'm not ready. But I know that God will give me the strength on the day that it happens to make me ready in that moment. That's how God functions and works.
That's right.
So when you're hit with these triggers, with these different things that want to cause you to say, hey, I'm not trying to start forgiving people. I'm not trying to start to open up to my fears and my anxieties and to deal with them. And I'm not trying to start to self-reflect on things that I may have done. Because here's the truth about it. This one might sting. You might have to start reflecting and saying, just like the gentleman in Nova's video, who on his deathbed then realized, like, oh man, I wish I had taken the time to meet that daughter I never knew. I wish I didn't just shut them out of my world. There might be stuff that we have to deal with, that you and I have to deal with, that we could have unintentionally put fear and anxiety into someone else.
That's crazy.
Now that's huge. That's one where you have to say, all the excuses, all the reasons, all of the validations of the pain that you experience at the hand of that person or not. Now you have to deal with that and say, how can I make it right, even though it seems like that person might have deserved it or they didn't deserve it, and now I just feel like I'm an evil person. Because then you're going to fight those two discouragements, right? So it's okay. We all have made mistakes. Just like she said in her song, we all made mistakes. There is not one human that's without a mistake. Your mistake is no worse than anyone else's. God doesn't say, well, you get the short love version and you get the full love version because your mistake was less than... No. He comes with open arms for everybody, no matter what you've done. That's right. So it's so important then as well, not just to reflect on what you may be experienced, but what you may have caused someone else to experience, knowingly or unknowingly.
It's crazy.
Sometimes we make decisions and we do things and we don't even realize how we're hurting someone else. And sometimes we know. We were just mad. We were just in pain. We just wanted to get back. We just have resentment and spite and hate within ourselves. So the reflection it's so big and it's so vast to start taking those steps to healing and becoming whole, not only for ourselves, but for others who we may have damaged or others who have damaged us. But really, ultimately, when you take these steps and you accept Christ and you accept His word and His love You yourself receive a peace that literally passes your
I
understanding.
think you just summarized a verse I was thinking here, where Jesus says, you should love the love of your God. I think it's in Matthew 10, about 37. You should love the love of your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength, and your neighbor as yourself. It's almost like right connection with God, that love being ministered to our hearts will naturally flow to those around us. So, and then you can better forgive each other, forgive yourself, and heal
Because you
from your own
understand-
negativity that you have caused others to think about, So, yeah, it goes
Because
back
when you
to
love
the
God, you automatically love yourself. People make self-love like this taboo word. Like, no, you love God, you love others, then yourself. Put yourself last. No, you better love yourself.
or else you
can't even love others.
Used to anybody
Like,
else, yeah.
You can't do it. It's
Yeah.
just not even a possible thing. And people look at it like it's so taboo. And when I say it, it's just been like an anomaly. Like, you don't say that. That's not right. But it's just, you have to, because then you see yourself. When you see yourself through God's eyes, you're like, I love how God made me. There's a self-love that's self-centered.
Yeah,
and then there's a God love that's God-centered self-love.
There's a difference.
There's
You
a
have
big
to-
difference.
there's
And
a huge
that's with
difference.
everything.
Yeah. We're gonna read a few comments, guys, and then we're gonna end this live stream. All right. I have to get going.
I just wanted to say, I saw Mr. E, a calm storm. Yeah, I saw Mr. E, you're over here rapping. A calm storm doesn't make a skilled sailor, so I thank the heavens for the stormy weather. I saw that earlier, and I was just like, it just had me wanting to jump up and shout. We didn't have those kind of songs today, but yeah, and so sometimes God does allow things to happen. One, it's the world we live in, and two, sometimes it creates a deeper dependency on Him. Literally, we learn how to depend on Him and to stop trusting in our own selfish ways and selfish motives.
So good.
But yeah, okay,
So-
Mr. E, I want to hear you say that and rap it. Love requires freedom to choose and consent.
That's right.
And with that, freedom is the risk someone will choose.
That's right. John, you said something quickly. God gave choice. Yeah, which allows for evil. You kind of summarized everything I was going to say,
perfectly
but
said.
anyway, you kind of like put it together in a nice way here. Yeah.
God didn't want robots to worship Him. So someone might say, well, why did God want anyone to worship Him knowing that this would be the end result? Well, that's a question to be answered, right?
Well, a good question is, to answer that, I'm thinking, why would you have children if you know one of them could possibly become an outcast?
Exactly.
So does that mean altogether
like,
we're not gonna have children altogether just
Yeah.
because I might have one or two sons who might just lose their minds?
Yeah.
Well, really, is that how we make decisions nowadays?
Yeah.
So parents, we look at what the positive outcome of what could possibly happen rather than the negative. You know what I'm saying? So we don't risk the good because of the possibility of the bad. I guess it's a way to say it.
Roque said, love isn't authentic if there isn't a choice. Absolutely.
Good point.
So it's just, it's awesome to be in God's love. There's no greater place to be. I can tell you that firsthand. I have seen God over the past couple of weeks just speak to me in ways that I'm like, wow. Like, even when we're making mistakes, when we're not doing things the way that He wants us to do them, He is so loud. And so when you're on the right path with Him, it's just like He's so loud. So He's just constantly wooing us with His love.
Yes.
He is. So it's an experience. It's a spiritual thing. And I would say, don't be so logical about it. Don't be so trying to figure out the details and the steps and all of these different things. Like, don't try to figure. Just ask God to give you an experience with Him in His love. That right there will set you on a course that you will not regret, and you will not be able to deny it. And then when you start to talk to people and they tell you all this beautiful stuff about, well, when Jesus this and this and that, you say, I'm sorry, I experienced God's love, and there's nothing that can shake my faith in that.
It's called experimental religion. So when you experience the love of God, right, it becomes a reality. It's like it crosses all the boundaries and all the other confusion. And unless a person goes through that, they can't make sense of what we're talking about here. So, Mr. E.
Next up, we have Mr. E. He's going to rap live for us.
I'm a hillbilly from
I don't believe you, Mr. E.
I can't rap.
I believe you can rap.
Yes, you can. It's funny, yo. All right, guys.
I think you got it in you.
We have to bring this to a close. I think it was absolutely amazing. I enjoyed this discussion. We've learned so much, and Nova's blessed my heart abundantly. That song.
That was powerful. That was deep.
Beautiful.
That's one to listen to over and over and have some tears and say,
guys, we have some other commitments to attend to. I would like to pause with a word of prayer. Is that okay? I would like to pause for those of you who may be suffering from some level of anxiety, things like that. Hopefully this discussion has been fruitful enough and give you some tips and steps that you can initially maybe put to use to help you to get over or rise above whatever it is that you're all going through.
Tater Monkey, he would be willing to do that. Just inbox him.
Ooh.
Tater Monkey wants to ask. I want some private questions. Have some private questions.
Yeah, if you have private things that are outside of the discussion, you want me to address, it's best to send me an email.
I haven't, Tess.
Yeah, so if you send us an email, that's the best way for us to talk and stuff like that. And also, you can use the phone number too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, an email just to get the information going. But questions like that, I think voice to voice is so much more powerful. Yeah. Like emails can be.
The phone number is down there. You can call. You really can. We answer. I answered a number of phone calls from people before, so you can call.
Yeah.
You talk to us
but
directly.
I mean, just give a time.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we will schedule.
I'm saying email
that.
to create a schedule, so it's
we
not.
Can talk. Yeah.
So you can have some order with it.
All right. What I would like to do right now, guys, I would like to pause and have a final word of prayer. Do we have anything else you want to say? Generally, no. I don't. My heart is blessed. So let's move forward. How about we pause and have a quick word of prayer, guys? Lord, we thank you so much for this beautiful discussion. We've had a wonderful time. We've learned so much from this talk. Each one of us, Father, have our own anxiety. We are going through our own personal issues that only the God who has created us understand more than anyone else. So we're asking you, Father, at this time, that you will minister to our hearts. You will take our burdens upon your shoulder as we cast them at your feet. We thank you so much, Father, for those who have joined us today and what they've learned and talked about. We pray for each one of them to get victory over whatever it is that they're going through. Help us, we pray, in our personal issues as well. To trust you, to believe in you, to put our hope in you. Encourage our hearts, Father, when we are feeling despair and discouraged. Help us to see things from your perspective, to know that you have our best interests at heart. We love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
Thank you all for tuning in.
Appreciate you. God bless you. Hey, Tess and Mystic.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that song yet, Tess, so we'll have to do...
Struggle Jennings?
No, she said Sinner from Tom MacDonald. Is there someone else that listen to God We Need You Now? But I saw that when I was just scrolling through, and I was like, I want to wait. I didn't want to listen to it without.
Maybe our next live stream we can add that together.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay in touch. Let's keep talking in the comment below. Like and subscribe. And for those of you who are interested in Bible study, you need to sign up ASAP. I'm going to keep the sign up sheet for one more week, and then I'm taking it down. So go to the description below so you can sign up for the upcoming Bible study about salvation, and you need to get in as soon as you can. All right. Thank you.
God bless you.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Happy Friday. Be good.
Be good. Behave.
Mr. E.
Have a good one. Bye.